doing both, like pretending to talk into this and also projecting to you folks. So thank you for bearing with me and for using your indoor voice as well. Welcome candidates, front row up here. Welcome members of the community, everyone who came out tonight. My name is Jen Schultz and I'm from the Syracuse Metro League of Women Voters. I'll be moderating tonight's forum, which is sponsored by the Syracuse chapter of the National Active and Retired Federal Employees, better known as NARF. Our famous, awesome NARF representative who put all of this together, Cheryl Matt, we want to give her a big thanks for hosting this. I've done this moderating a few times, and I got to tell you, she has made this job for me so very easy. So thank you, Miss Cheryl. And also a huge thanks to the library, especially Leah Krause, who is the assistant director, for also putting this together and organizing it with Cheryl. Yay. The event is, again, being live streamed, and it'll also be available on the Fayetteville Library YouTube channel for future viewing and sharing. So tonight we're going to be asking questions of candidates of 3 races. The County Legislature District number 10, the Town of Manlius Supervisor, the Town of Manlius Councilors race. The candidates did receive the questions in advance of tonight, so they're prepared. However, we do have a surprise question to keep things fun and keep them on their toes. So we'll ask that at the end of the session. We only have 90 minutes to hear from 9 candidates. So unfortunately, we can't field questions from the audience. But on your chairs, you should have received 2 pieces of paper. One was a slip that you can use to ask questions of candidates. And there's 4 slots on there, so just fill it all in. There's a basket in the back of the room with 2 flags in it. So you can pop those questions in there. We'll be sure to get them to the candidates. And the second piece of paper you should have on your seat are the questions that we are going to be asking the candidates tonight. So feel free to follow along. And also the candidates have brought a bunch of literature for you in case you want to take even more swag home to read to your family as a bedtime story. So on the table on the way out, you can grab that as well. So let's get started. And since we have a lot to cover, like I just mentioned, we are going to be keeping time for these questions. And we want to thank Tom, the timekeeper over here, for his work with this. He'll hold up cards to remind the candidates of the time that they have remaining. He shall be seen but not heard. Okay, so we're going to begin with the county legislator candidates. And we have here Elaine Denton and Mark Olson. And I would invite you to come up, but you're already so organized. Here you are. So we are going to go in alphabetical order. We're going to start with the D first, Denton. So you're going to go first on this question. And the question is, the position of county legislator is a part-time elected position. What is your current regular occupation, Elaine?
Okay, great. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for everyone attending this important event. For over 15 years, I have run my own small business design as a freelance graphic designer. I design brand identities for small business and individuals, create websites, and design for on-screen and print mediums. I have 3 kids, Caprice, August, and Lionel, who keep me busy. My oldest just started high school, Lionel is in 8th grade, and my youngest is in 5th. I also volunteer for organizations and causes using my visual communications and technology skills to advocate for social and environmental justice. And I currently serve on the coordinating committee for CNY Solidarity, which is an all-volunteer grassroots organization committed to strengthening democracy and protecting our rights here in Central New York.
Great. Mark, you're up.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for being here. I echo your comments about the CNY chapter of NARF putting this together. I think this is an important forum for everybody to see and hear from both of us. I also want to thank the library. This room is perfect for this, and I want to say thank you to putting this together. Also, I want to thank Elaine. We have had spirited debates, but we've actually been really getting along well, and I want to just say thank you because it's been it's been nice to be, with you and see you at the events and say hello, and it's something that, I think is important because we're 2 people with 2 different views, but we also want the best for our community, so I just want to say thank you. I am a manufacturer's rep for food service equipment. I absolutely love the food service world. It's not the most exciting world for a lot of people, but everybody eats, and I think it's important that I train and educate and work with manufacturers, with local restaurants, hospitals, college, universities, and I am running out of time. Life member of the Fayetteville Fire Department since 1981, board member of the Samaritan Center. I'm a member of IC Church, and I'm an usher and member of the Food Insecurity, where we take food to Catholic charities. I have 2 boys, Nate and Noah, and I've got to stop.
Thank you very much, Mark and Elaine. Excellent. Your next question, you'll have 2 minutes for it. Mark, you're going to go first.
I'm going to need to.
And the
yeah, thank
question
you.
is, Micron is here, and there have been a lot of public input and by the experts and residents, and there's still concerns about what the impact will be on the environment. So what are your thoughts on this?
Okay.
2 minutes.
Thank you. Well, one of the things that I think people need to realize is we did a survey of the Town of Manlius residents, and over 75% of the residents in this district are approved or are in favor of the Micron project. So I wanted to put that out there because this is something that I think our community is in favor of. Do we need more time to look at the environmental review? Do we need more time to look at certain issues? I think we could always do that, 30, 45, 60, 90 days. How much is the appropriate time? But I do want to list the people that have reviewed the environmental impact statement. Town of Clay, Town of Cicero, OSIDA, WEP, Aqua, New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, Empire State Development, New York Power Authority, New York State DOT, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, EPA, Federal Highway Administration, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, U.S. Department of Commerce, U.S. DOT, and locally Ramble has been looking at it. These agencies are working day in and day out to make sure that Micron does what they say they're going to do and make sure that they do not pollute our environment. Micron does not want to do that. This is a generational change for our community. Micron is going to be something that our grandchildren's grandchildren are part of. And when you think about why Micron is important, think about what we've lost in the last 20 years. Miller Brewery, Nestle's, GM, Carrier, New Venture Gear, and many other big major industries in our community. We've lost those, and we want our children. If you read my mayor statement when I was mayor, I want my children's children to grow up here. I want them to stay in the community. Everybody in this room wants their family to be part of this community. Micron will do that, but I have faith in all those organizations to make sure that we hold Micron accountable to our environment and to making sure that we do the right thing as a steward to this environment. Thank you.
Okay, great. Elaine, question is yours.
Thank
2
you.
minutes.
So I don't know if I received that survey for the town of Manlius, but I'm excited that Micron is coming to Onondaga County and the opportunities that they bring to the area. But as a Central New Yorker, I know we've been promised so many times before, and we really just haven't seen those promises fulfilled. So this time, I would like to see our community protected with a signed community benefits agreement with Micron. This would be a legally binding negotiated agreement between Micron and a community coalition, and it would outline the benefits the community would receive in return for our support and the $20 billion that they are receiving in taxpayer subsidies. A community benefit agreement could protect our community, our workers, and our environment by including a labor peace agreement, requiring environmental data to make sure we know what's going into our environment, to outline safe working conditions, to establish equitable hiring and employment practices, making sure we have transportation access, and require annual reporting on these and other issues. The draft environmental impact statement highlighted the many ways this project would significantly impact our community. However, I found it lacking in the details on how Micron will mitigate the impact to our environment or the stress on our infrastructure. After reviewing the DEIS, Micron seems to leave the mitigating the impacts on state and local municipalities, and this is a little disappointing as Micron is coming here for our resources. And local governments already have their plates full with dealing with the current issues that we are in our community. So I would like to see our state and local representatives hold Micron accountable to building this project within the scope of our climate policies and our clean air and water laws. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, next question. Elaine, you're to begin. It's mid-October, and I'm sure you've been talking to a lot of voters. What are you hearing from the residents of County Leg 10 about the new aquarium?
Yeah, so for the most residents that I've talked to are not happy that we're spending over $95 million of our taxpayer dollars on an expensive aquarium, especially when we're in a housing crisis. We have one of the highest rates of childhood poverty in the country, and the cost of living continues to rise. We have more pressing issues that we could have allocated this money to before we built an aquarium. I have heard from residents the desire for more affordable activities and community spaces that are accessible to everyone in our community. But with this money, we could have built community centers, community gardens, splash pads, community pools, or invested in our parks instead of an expensive aquarium. I continue to be concerned and have shared these concerns with our current county legislators about expensive ticket prices at aquariums and if this aquarium will reach the needed attendance to cover its operating costs. There's a lot of the work that, a lot of this work should have been done before we started building the aquarium, but unfortunately right now that's just not how the county legislature is working. Many of our current legislators seem to be rubber stamping agenda items without asking questions or waiting for answers. I'd like to change that so we don't find ourselves in this situation again. I am hoping for the best for the aquarium since we're building it, but I know residents, and myself included, would feel better if there was more communication about the funding gap and how taxpayers will be protected from this project coming back for even more taxpayer funding.
Very good. Okay, thank you, Mark.
Yes.
Next question. Oh,
Same
wait,
question.
so sorry. So sorry.
No problem. So I appreciate this question, and I appreciate everybody who has asked and talked to me about the project. And I have talked to a lot of people about this project. I voted in favor of this project, and I want to be clear why I did this. I believe this is an opportunity to do something to transform our county, to bring new life to the Inner Harbor, to attract visitors, to support local businesses, and to create opportunities, educational opportunities for families and schools across our region. And we're not talking about Onondaga County. We're talking about Oswego, Cayuga, Madison, Seneca, all the other counties around here that will have the opportunity to come to this aquarium. For too long, we've talked about revitalizing the Inner Harbor. This is a way to make it real. At the same time, I've heard the concerns loud and clear about the cost, transparency, and priorities. That's why I voted no to additional funding through the county ledge. People want to know this won't become a financial burden or take away from the urgent needs. I agree. That's why I'm supporting strong oversight, public reporting, and making sure that the ticket pricing and access are fair and inclusive. This is why this was not an easy vote, but I made it because I believe in building our future. I believe that we can address the needs of our community, like housing, infrastructure, and public health, and still invest in projects that grow our economy that are not mutually inclusive. Now, I want to bring a perspective up. We just finished the county budget at $1.6 billion. Out of that $1.6 billion, $146 million is collected in property taxes. $390 million is collected in sales and tourism taxes and room occupancy taxes. County government runs on tourism, on sales tax, and other sales tax drivers to move our economy forward, to do all the things that we both agree are important and need to be done. This is something that will bring 144 new jobs, $50 million in economic impact in our hotels, restaurants, and local businesses. I understand it's controversial, so is the amphitheater, but I think this project, and I know with the oversight, will be a benefit to our community. Thank you.
Thank you both very much. Next question. It's 2 minutes. And what do you feel are the 3 most important things that will face our county over the next 5 years? Mark, you're on again.
Can we agree with 4? Can we? So, I think the things that I think about that are the most important, and I am a big witty. What is important to you? And what I hear when I'm out in the streets and I'm talking to the residents is lack of housing, cost of housing, cost of rising assessments, the tax rates. This is why I'm very happy to have just voted for a tax decrease of 11%. And since I took office in the last 4 years, 39% tax decrease on the tax rate for the county. This is important. Our seniors, our retirees, our federal workers, our senior citizens, all these people that are feeling the impact of high assessments and high tax rates. We're trying to find a way to lower those and to try to make people be able to stay in their houses. I think Micron and the supply chain and serving our communities and serving those underserved is another important issue. We have got an opportunity to grow our middle class, to grow people from the bottom up. And Micron is going to be part of that with our supply chains. 9,000 new jobs, 40,000 supply chain jobs. This is going to be a great thing for our economy, but we have got to figure out how to do that the right way. I think public safety is a huge, I'm the chairman of public safety. We have EMS workers that are not doing it anymore. We have firefighters, volunteer fire that can't keep up. We have police officers that don't want to do it anymore. We have correction officers that we're having a problem getting. 911 dispatchers. These are all life safety issues that everybody counts on every day of the week, every day of our life. We need to make sure that we help and support those. That's why I supported a $200,000 initiative to do an EMS study countywide. I'm asking for $400,000 next year for a fire study for the whole county to look at that. We're working with our sheriff's department, we're working with 911, we're working with all our public service agencies because that is so important. I will say my fourth thing, and I know it's three. Go ahead before. Route 81. I'm on the SMTC committee. If you think what we've gone through in 481 and 3E and everything that we're going through right now is bad, we have got our hands full over the next 3 years with what's going to happen when it hits downtown Syracuse. So I want people to be prepared. Thank you.
Very much. Elaine?
So there are many issues that need to be addressed, and I want to work on as many as I can to improve our community. The three that I would like to highlight tonight are the housing crisis, addressing poverty, and the rising cost of living. These three issues are so connected, and with Micron coming and the expected growth to our community, we need to make sure that these issues do not get worse. To grow and to thrive, we need to change Onondaga County's priorities from funding aquariums and corporations to taking care of people who live here. In order to address any of these issues, we need to increase transparency in our county government to understand what is working well and what needs new solutions. If the county can build a $100 million aquarium, we can take a more active role in addressing our housing crisis, poverty, and rising costs. We can build affordable housing, fully fund childcare assistance, and make sure our county employees have the support they need to provide the essential services residents rely on, from housing assistance, energy assistance, food stamps, to public safety, and more. Currently, Onondaga County has a rainy day fund of over $200 million of our taxpayer dollars. Yet instead of using this money to help our communities, the county just passed the 2026 $1.6 billion budget, celebrating not using this money. I am all for fiscal responsibility and watching where we spend our taxpayer dollars, but when 100 families are on a waiting list for childcare assistance, or 57 families are living in hotels because there is not enough housing, not enough affordable, healthy housing available, I know Onondaga County has the resources to do more for our communities without raising taxes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Next question, Elaine, you will start. You'll have 2 minutes. And as legislator, you will be working for the residents of the community. And as in any job interview, the residents would like to know what skill set you think you have that we believe would make you the best person for the legislator position.
Right, thank you. So I found that being a parent of 3 kids really prepares you for being an elected official. Because as a parent, you learn how important communication and listening are. And how you communicate varies by who you're talking to, right? What works for one kid doesn't work for another. And you need to adapt, try new things, keep going with support from your community. Once you're elected, there's no manual that tells you what to do. You need to be independent. There are responsibilities of attending meetings and voting on agenda items, but how you govern and how you represent your district is on you. My background of being a self-employed and community organizer works well in this situation, as I'm used to managing my own work and listening to different perspectives. I would use my design and visual communication skills to inform and listen to my constituents. I would explain my votes as I did when I was on the town board, and I would evaluate each decision that comes before the county legislature based on the needs of my community. I grew up on my family's dairy farm, and I learned firsthand the value of hard work, community, and supporting those who build from the ground up. I'm committed to bringing these principles to the county legislature. My love for learning and community-focused approach would be an asset to the legislature, and I want to share what I learned with everyone so that we can all use our collaborative knowledge to create a better Onondaga County. Thank you.
Okay, great. Mark?
And thank you again for being here and listening to us. You know, when I think about why I got into public service and being a public elected official, I wanted to help people. I want to help people. I want to connect county services. And my goal 4 years ago when I got elected was to start connecting dots with the county government and the residents. There's so many services that we do and offer in your daily lives that people don't realize and don't know that we offer. Over these past 4 years, I've experienced so much learning how county government works. Some things I think are working well. Some things I don't think are working well, and I'm trying to make those changes. But that experience has helped me. That experience to be able to pick up the phone when a resident calls and says, how do I get a crosswalk in front of ESM High School? How do I do this? How do I get help with the fire department or the police department? All those agencies that we work with, I'm able to do that now that I have experience of 4 years. When I was mayor for 20 years in Fayetteville, one of the things I talked about was what is important to you? What can we do to build a better community? What can we do to increase the quality of life? When I think about why we live in this community, I think about the 3 pillars. We have quality schools. Think about ESM and FM and the college and universities that we have. We have great institutions. That's important. The second thing is public safety. When we live in this community, we want to feel safe. We have a great police, fire, EMS agencies, EM, 911, corrections. Everything is working well to help people keep them safe in their community. And the third thing is your quality of life, whether that's parks, whether that's shops, whether that's businesses, whatever that is, libraries, institutions, that senior centers that make you feel like you have a quality of life. Take any one of those 3 away, and we don't have a vibrant community. We don't have somewhere where you're proud to call home. I'm working every day working to make sure that we take care of those 3 big priorities, to make sure that you have a community that you're proud to call home, that you want to live in, and that you want to be part of. And the experience that I gained as mayor, as trustee, and now as legislator, I think has guided me making the decisions that are right for our community. And I want to continue that and continue to move our community forward. And I thank you all for being here. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, last question. This is the
Oh.
on-the-spot surprise question. You ready?
And I get to
Need
go
a drum roll, and you get to go first,
Thank
Mark. The question is, what was your favorite subject in high school? I didn't make the question.
I absolutely loved industrial arts wood shop with Mr. Dowdle. And I absolutely, I'm a little bit of what you would call a nerd. Senior skip day, I skipped senior skip day to finish my woodshop project, and I got an award from the Governor Cuomo at the time, an industrial arts award. So woodshop was my favorite, industrial arts and auto mechanics.
Excellent. Elaine, what was your favorite?
I would have to say music course was my favorite. You would think it would be art, but I didn't actually start taking art until my senior year when I decided I wanted to be a graphic designer. And so I had to jump back into that and do a lot of work to get into art school, which I did. But yeah, I would say it was music and definitely getting more interested in history now too.
Excellent. Well, you both did great. Thank you so
Thank you
much
very
for
much.
coming
Appreciate
tonight.
it.
And more
Thank you.
importantly, thank you for running.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Is Danny Liedka. So we're going to go in alphabetical order. We're going to start with John in the first question, which is 1 minute. The position of town supervisor is a part-time elected position. What is your current occupation?
So first off, thank you to the library, thank you to NARF for everybody for being here. Before I ran for supervisor, I saw kind of the consequences of what it means to be a part-time supervisor, and I committed to making sure that I gave every part of my life to being the town supervisor. So while I do some political consulting on the side for candidates that I truly believe in, my full-time job is being the town supervisor. It is something that I have taken great joy in being in the building for hours a day, so that as the problems come up, there is a decision maker in the room to solve those problems, to listen to the employees, figure out exactly what we can do to help them do the job better, and help them move past those difficulties. It also means that I get a very in-depth knowledge of the goings on in town. I'm happy to say that over time, I often have to ask the attorneys less and less what we're supposed to do, what we can do, and I've built a really strong relationship with all of our department heads.
Great, thank you. Danny?
Yeah, first off, thank you to everybody who put this together. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of everybody. Current occupation, I'm the president and CEO of Visit Syracuse and Visit Syracuse Film. We're a 501c6. We're the official sales and marketing agency for Onondaga County Tourism and also bringing movies to the area. Single-handedly, our organization stimulates over $1.3 billion a year in annual visitor and film spending. We also generate over $60 million in local taxes, which, to what Mark Olson mentioned, sales taxes are what drive that county budget. We play a big role in that. Also, I'm also an ABCA professionally certified baseball coach. I train kids to get better, to get into college, and pursue their passion of baseball. Most important occupation, father of 3 children. 18, a college freshman, believe it or not, 13 and 10, and a lovely wife who's a school teacher, and my 4-legged friend, which is a German Shepherd.
Very well said. Okay, thank you both. Next question. This is a 3-minute long question, and we're going to start with Danny, and that is, the town supervisor is responsible for creating an annual budget. A top concern in the town of Manlius are taxes. What are your plans for keeping those taxes in the town from continuing to increase significantly every year?
Well, from my time as both a mayor and a county legislator, I've learned pretty quickly through that process that keeping taxes stable comes down to smart, disciplined management. Short-term fixes, flashy ideas, they don't work. You have to plan for the future. You have to be prudent. If a study can't be implemented because of funding or reasonably funded, we don't look at it. Spending money on pet projects, I'm not a big fan of. I've supported priority-based budgeting. It's a practical approach. You have to take a hard look at everything, see what's performing. Every year you should be looking back on where you spent your money, what's working, what's not. Just because we've done it that way forever doesn't mean we have to keep doing it. New ideas, finding ways to create new sources of revenue. Essential services come first. Obviously our public safety, the roads, infrastructure, planning, sanitation. But every other service that we provide needs to be based on performance, and we need to evaluate the outcomes. If it's low priority and it's not producing results, we have to take a hard look at that. 2 minutes, wow, I'm flying through it. We also need to be honest about what we can afford. Not everything that sounds good politically is financially sustainable. We can't afford to overextend or overpromise. Residents expect us to be the stewards of their tax money, be responsible. I really take pride in that. In fact, when I was a freshman legislator on the county, day one, Joni Mahoney appointed me as the budget task force review head of that. It was a new organization to look at county taxes. As a freshman legislator, I took the bull by the horns. I'd visit Syracuse when COVID-19 hit. That March, my funding was slashed 70%. I still managed to keep everybody employed, and I turned a profit, probably one of the few nonprofits that did that. At the end of the day, stable taxes aren't about gimmicks or politics. They're about running local government like it matters, like it's your own money, with transparency, discipline, and a focus on results. That's the kind of leadership I will bring to the table.
Okay, great. John? John, you're up. You have 3 minutes.
Yeah. So a little bit about the budget. Every year, the supervisor has to put together what's called the tentative budget. This is a budget that oversees the 4 major funds: the A fund, the B fund, the DA, and the DB fund. And so I work diligently with everybody at Town Hall. We have budget workshops where our department heads come and they tell us what they need to get the job done. And then I take a pass at that as the supervisor, and I put something together that I can give to the board that says, this tentative budget will allow us to operate the services we offer at the level that is expected from our community. And it takes a really hard look at some of the major sources of spending at the town level, which is predominantly our police department and our highway department. And now, what I experienced when I was on the town council was quite a bit of everybody that was on the board started to understand kind of how things are done, how things have been done. And what we started to see was that financially, we were not doing our due diligence. We didn't have a comptroller who was in charge of making sure that the money that was budgeted was spent appropriately. And so we also saw a number of staff that were underpaid to a really egregious standpoint. And it predominantly was with the women and older folks that were working for the town. And so the first time I wrote my tentative budget, I took a hard look at how do we right these wrongs? How do we make sure that we are paying people fairly, not opening up the town to liability, but also making sure that the most important services are fully funded and that we are giving our employees the best possible training to deliver those services. So when we talk about the budget over the last few years, it's been filling those gaps. It's been giving our police department the tools that they need to be the best department in Onondaga County. It doesn't come cheap. We've had, when I took office, we had an enormous turnover rate of officers, and that cost us money every year. What we've been able to do is stabilize our staffing, leveraging a strong staffing analysis from our professionals at the police department to make sure that we have a force that can do the job well, and can hold itself accountable. At the highway department, we've ensured numerous amounts of training opportunities, making sure that we have the best equipment. Most municipalities are ready for our equipment. When we're ready to sell it, they want it because we've taken such good care of it. And overall, a reminder of the town hall operations. Only cost us $6 million a year. The taxes that you pay on your tax bill are the police and the highway. And what I've done to try and control those costs into the future is to turbocharge our planning department so that we can cite new projects that'll bring in revenue, bring new people to the town. Proud to say, as we look forward, we have more development slated and we are ready for Micron than ever before.
Great, thank you. Okay, next question, John, you'll start this one. It's only 1 minute, it's not 3. Give us some examples of volunteer work that you've participated in over the past 2 years in the Central New York community.
So again, as I am a full-time supervisor, from 8 to 12, I show up as town supervisor and I do the work. From 12 to 4, I like to consider that my volunteering time. I also have my hands full with a 2.5-year-old. It's been a really fun experience balancing local office and the responsibilities that with being a parent. And then in the free time that I do have, I put a lot of energy into supporting candidates for office that I believe in, because the reason I got into local government, the reason I got into politics was the 2016 election. To see that we could sit by and allow something so terrible to happen, and we are now paying the cost of that 2016 election, I work as hard as I can with whatever free time I have to make sure that the people that are being elected aren't this type of person, that are focused on serving the public, not serving themselves, not enriching themselves, but making sure we're electing good local officials that their job is to serve the residents.
Okay, great. Danny, the question's yours.
Well, for the last 14 years, my family and I have organized the toy drive for inner city children, also East Syracuse, Minoa, and Chittenango families. So we coordinate that through the Syracuse. Yeah, sure. My family and I have coordinated the toy drive for the last 14 years to benefit inner city children and the needy families in East Syracuse, Minoa, and Chittenango districts. We work with the City of Syracuse Police Department to distribute the toys, to build a bond between the officers and those kids on the street. I've also been the president of East Syracuse Minoa Little League. I've done a free baseball clinic for inner city kids for 150 kids. Each kid walked away with a brand new baseball glove. My family and I are proud members of American Legion Post 359, where I have been a member there for 22 years and have volunteered for veterans ever since then.
Okay, great. Next question, it'll be 2 minutes. Danny, you'll start, and that is, as a supervisor, you'll be working with residents of this community. As in any job interview, the residents would like to know what skill set you think you have that you believe makes you the best person for the position of town supervisor.
Yeah, I feel pretty strongly that Manlius is facing some serious challenges, and in this moment requires proven, experienced leadership, hands-on leadership. Throughout my career, every job I've had, I've walked into a bad situation. I consider myself a problem solver. When I was the mayor of the village of East Syracuse, I walked in, I had 60 days to pass a budget. The initial budget called for a 30% tax increase. I passed that budget shortly thereafter, less than 1%. And the tax rate was lower when I left office than when I started. Same at the county legislature. I'll bring that type of leadership and that type of experience to the residents here. I think what sets me apart is I understand the public sectors, I understand the private sectors. I know how to get things done. I know how to bring people together. I have relationships at all levels of government that will open doors for this town. I worked with people on both sides of the aisle when I was a county legislator. I stood with people on both sides of the aisle based on the issue. And if we disagreed with something, we walked away, it was civil. I know how to bring people together. As a baseball coach and also a brother of 5 sisters, I know how to sit down and work things out. And that's what it takes. And I treat people with respect. I worked for Marriott Hotel Corporation for 8 years as a sales leader. And I was also Mr. Marriott's problem solver. I treat people with respect. I respect everything they do. I respect their time. I respect their input. And there are no egos when we go into a room. We figure the problem out and we can all walk out civilized. That's what we need here in Manlius, and I'm looking forward to leading.
Okay, great. The question is yours, John. 2 minutes.
So before I got into politics and local government, I was a computer science major and a computer programmer. I worked at a small business right here in the village of Manlius, and my job day to day was to listen to other members of the organization, figure out what problems they were facing, and try to figure out how we could leverage technology and smart solutions to make things more efficient, make it so that we can do more with less. And I will say I didn't expect that to set me up for success in local government. But what I have found is that as the town supervisor, I'm the member of the board that has to focus on employee matters, that has to focus on the workers themselves. And what I've tried to do is bring that skill set to the town. When I got there, everything was that we've done it this way forever. I mean, we had incumbents of 27 and 17 and 10 years that were just doing the same thing all the time. And what we were able to do was shake things up, professionalize town hall so that when someone doesn't get reelected, we're not missing a key skill at the town hall. We're not making sure that the job is actually being done. And I have loved learning about our planning department, our comptroller, our highway and police department, and making sure I don't tell the department heads what to do. I listen to the problems they're facing, listen to their proposed solutions. Then I go work with the administrative staff, work with the town board to make sure that we can afford it, that we can get things done, and then we implement good solutions, and then we check back in. And that's something that has been really helpful for us to be able to move in a nimble and agile way here. Again, we were the only town prepared for Micron. We did our comprehensive plan. We were looking at zoning. We were making sure development was ready, and we have delivered on that. So when we talk about the type of leadership we need the type of leadership that's been leading Manlius, building units, making sure we can actually build housing and deliver on the promises that we've made.
Very good. Okay, now you can exhale a little bit. This is the fun question. Okay, John, you're first. And the question is, name 2 Central New York attractions, activities, or locations that we might find you on a warm summer day.
So first would definitely be Pratt's Falls, where my wife, Perrin, and I got married in 2017. And then probably after that, it's got to be Green Lakes. I mean, I try to spend as much of my time, energy, and money in the town as possible. So
Excellent. Danny.
Yeah, I mean, I share Green Lakes. It's a treasure. Really, it's first rate. My dog loves it. I love it. So I'm there quite a bit. Big sports fan, no secret there. Syracuse Mets. Love going to a ball game on a summer afternoon or summer evening.
Great. You guys did excellent, of course.
Thank you.
And we wish you well. Thank you.
yeah.
going to get started here. Last but not least, thank you all for your patience. We have 5 candidates running for 3 spots for town councilor, including, I did this in alphabetical order. They are not in order up here, according to this, so we're just going to go with it. It's all good. Sara Bollinger, Timothy Kelly, Katelyn Kriesel, Maria Mahar, and William Nicholson. So we have a few questions for you. The first question is 1 minute. Again, alphabetical order. We're going to start with Sara. And the question is, the position of town councilor is a part-time elected position. What is your current regular position?
So thank you, and thank you to the library for hosting this. I will try to speak up. I'm the sole proprietor of SWB Consulting Services, which provides strategic and business planning for not-for-profit organizations, primarily in Central New York. And we also provide grant writing and leadership development as needed. Recent clients include the Association for Rural Health, a food pantry, a community action agency, an independent living center. So it's a variety of nonprofits in the community. And I've worked with clients concerned about historic preservation and the environment, which are both things that are important to the town of Manlius as well. Prior to starting my own business, I did work as the executive director of a nonprofit organization, actually several different nonprofits. And so I gained experience managing multi-million-dollar budgets and hundreds of staff. So I have that kind of business leadership experience. And that's also, I learned how to work with county and state officials. And I learned a little bit more about grant writing. So those are some of the activities that my background used to prepare for this.
Great. Thank you so much. Timothy, you're up.
All right, my name is Tim Kelly. First off, the most important role I have in my life is being a husband and a father to 3 awesome kids. I've got a freshman in college, a junior in high school at FM, and a 6th grader. On top of that, I serve as manager of lead initiatives for Onondaga County. I oversee a program that does lead remediation in homes in the 5 target districts or target zip codes in Onondaga or in the city of Syracuse. In addition to that, we lead the lead training program. We do certifications. Additionally, I'm also a certified EMT. I'm vice president of NAVAC Ambulance in North Syracuse. I served the prior 10 years as president of the organization. It's the busiest volunteer agency in the county. I've been an EMT for 15 years, and I'm very involved in the community. And that balance of public service leadership and community involvement is exactly what I hope to bring to the town board.
Okay, great. Katelyn.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. So nice to see everyone here this evening, and thank you to the library and our facilitator and the organization putting this on. I really appreciate everyone coming out. My name is Katelyn Kriesel. I've been serving on the town board for 6 years, and alongside that, I am a financial advisor. I own my own financial planning company called Green Lakes Planning, so shout out to Green Lakes, mentioned earlier. And I've been in finance since 2010. I also had, along that road, I was working for the Central New York Regional Planning and Development Board for a few years, where I learned and got my expertise in renewable energy and solar energy development. And I'm also the president and founder of a not-for-profit called the Sustainable Economies Alliance, which worked with Cooperative Federal Credit Union and the Community Foundation to expand education and financial empowerment throughout Onondaga County.
Excellent. Maria.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I currently serve as the Deputy Commissioner of the Adult and Long-Term Care Services. I'm responsible for a multi-million budget that takes care of older adults and people with disabilities. So I'm familiar with budgets, providing services for people in need. I also serve as a board member of the regional market and also as a trustee of the library system here in Onondaga County. I promote wellness programs and making sure that the learning opportunities for the county residents. In addition, I also serve in the governor's master plan on aging, and I'm the co-chair of the Nutrition, Food Insecurity group, where I'm expanding access to food, fresh food and vegetables and community programs that make a difference in people's lives in New York State.
Great. Thank you so much. Last but not least, William.
Hey, thank you very much, and thanks for being here, everybody. I want to just amend my answer to the question right away. Although the town council is a part-time job, I treat it as a full-time job. It's a huge responsibility. But by day, I'm a nonprofit director for a community action agency, which is a member of the nationwide network of agencies addressing the causes and conditions of poverty in America. My literal title is Community Services Director. That's what I do all day. Again, addressing the causes and conditions of poverty in our community through innovative, publicly funded programs with incredible oversight and outcome reporting. And 15 seconds? 30. Again, the point of all of this is to lift people and families out of poverty and into middle class resiliency with a hand up rather than a hand out. Right up to and including this morning, I'm citing a tiny home village on my work site to house literally homeless individuals in our community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next question, you have 2 minutes, and we're going to start with Timothy. And the question is, what do you think are the most important challenges facing the town over the next 5 years?
Absolutely. Over the next 5 years, one of our greatest challenges will be finding the right balance between growth and affordability. Families and seniors are being stretched thin by rising assessments and higher taxes, and that's pushing people out of our community. I've talked to a number of them knocking on doors this year. We need to restore fiscal responsibility, transparency, and trust in how our town manages your taxpayer dollars. At the same time, we're entering a period of major economic change with Micron coming to Central New York. This project brings tremendous potential, thousands of new jobs, growth for small businesses, and new energy for our region. But it also brings real challenges: increased demand for housing, pressure on our roads and infrastructure. If you try getting off the new exit today, it was backed up all the way to 481. And higher cost of living. If we're not proactive, we risk losing the character and charm that make the town of Manlius such a special place to live in. That's why we need to focus on smart, responsible development. I'm a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals, have been for the last 6 years. Growth that fits the character of our community, supports local businesses, and preserves our green spaces. Too often decisions are made behind closed doors or without proper input from our residents. I believe people deserve a seat at the table when it comes to shaping the future of this town. As someone whose family has called the town of Manlius home for over 6 generations, I take that responsibility personally. I want to make sure our town remains a place where families want to stay, raise the children, and retire comfortably. That means focusing on practical solutions that strengthen public safety, improve infrastructure, and ensure government remains accountable to the people it serves. Thank you.
Okay, great. Katelyn?
Great question, or great answer, Tim. So we've got a lot of opportunities coming to Central New York with Micron coming, but we are also going to be encountering a lot of challenges that will come along with that, some of which we're already experiencing. Affordable housing has come up many times already this evening, and that's something that we talk about town hall all the time. So how do we support affordable housing development in the town of Manlius? We have a lot of ideas, a lot of things we're working on. We have planned unit developments that that have allowed us to create custom zones. That's allowed us to actually develop housing in the town of Manlius for the first time in decades. We have our main economic centers of our villages. With Micron coming, it will be imperative that we protect our current economic situation where our current business owners, small business owners, they can't get pushed out by Micron. And over the summer, we held the largest economic development symposium that we've had in the town of Manlius. And the business owners were very concerned about opportunities coming with Micron actually hurting them more than helping them. And then finally, to take advantage of Micron coming, we have an infrastructure problem. We need to be working with WEP on our wastewater treatment plant. A lot of our colleagues and friends and neighbors in Fremont are struggling with that on a daily basis. And then we have opportunities to do economic development, which would help to reduce the tax burden on the town in the northern part of the town. There are grants available from the state, so taking advantage of those and effectively developing and sustainably developing certain parts of the town in line with our comprehensive plan. There are so many opportunities there, but a lot of challenges in how we're actually going to get that done. Thank
Great.
you.
Maria?
Thank you.
Challenges.
So when I speak to residents, one concern keeps coming up is the rising property taxes, and families are financial pressure, especially older adults. And as one of them, I can they express the taxes are going up, their incomes are limited, healthcare costs is going up, medications are going up. So these are concerns that they're worried about. So I think it's something that we need to focus on. But as I don't want to sit here and say I know what's troubling this town. I want to have meetings with the town residents and finding out what are their concerns are, because in government, before you establish programs and say this is the services we need, you need to meet with your constituents. You need to find out what their concerns are. And I think we need to do that. We need to hear from our town what they need so that we can create services for them, find budgets for them to have these services, because our town is changing. I've been here for 40 years as an immigrant, and also raising biracial children. You know, you can see my name is Mahar. I'm from the Philippines. I married an Irishman. And so I know this town is changing, and we need to find out how it's changing and what we can do to help better serve it and improve it.
Great. Thank you. William?
Yes, I think this is the greatest and most important question because we can really dig into real things. So challenges, and people have touched upon this in their answers already, but I would center the fact on the reality we're living in today, that trust in our institutions and governments are obviously at an all-time low. And I believe that part of the remedy of that, as I believed 4 years ago, and as I continue to believe, is that participation is key. It's your government. You own it. It's yours. And so that's why most recently I've worked to impanel the town's first board of ethics, because we talk about transparency in government. And what I mean by transparency isn't which social media platform has the broadest reach or what's the best newsletter format. I mean, follow the money. Where is the, financial disclosures and a clear policy? So that's something we've been working at with the town's first board of ethics being impaneled. And then so too, engaging residents to participate in solving their own problems using the tools of their government. So we instantiated the Manlius Watershed Stewards, which is a citizen-led, resident-led committee to address watershed health. Because when I was campaigning 4 years ago, that was something, I sympathize. I am a taxpayer here, and I am a nonprofit director, so I am not wealthy. And so, rising costs, including a tax bill that goes up periodically, is a concern for me, as it is for everybody. But I was struck by how many people I would talk to throughout the community where that wasn't the first concern they had. The first concern they had was the flooding in their basement. The first concern they had was that the landscape of their neighborhood has been changing due to extreme weather and other things. And so this has been a wonderful opportunity for citizens to participate in what their government can do, and I would talk for 10 more minutes about that, but I want to get to number 2. So I think the second big challenge is organized, sensible land use and development that builds on the vision of our comprehensive plan without creating new and unintended consequences, whether they be environmental, social, or logistical. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And last but not least, Ms. Sara.
Okay, well, I will pick up from where William left off. The biggest challenge I see facing the town is growth. It's imperative that we manage the growth in a manner that balances new opportunities with the existing character and quality of life, which is why we're all here. So this is why I focused on developing the comprehensive land use plan, which was confirmed in 2023. And this plan is used multiple mechanisms for community input and was coordinated with the county comprehensive plan too, so it's not an isolated entity. And it has an annual review process so that as things change, it can be adapted to keep up with the times. So this was sort of the outline of development for the community so that we were ready and prepared for when the Micron announcement came. We already had some ideas of what we wanted for our town. I wrote a grant to fund the climate smart revision to our zoning code, which is just beginning now, that will further prepare us not only for Micron itself, but for other companies or for other developers who want to come here, so that we are preserving the quality of life at the same time as providing opportunities for growth. And growth is a regional issue. So planning requires involvement of the villages, the county, surrounding communities, because the growth structure, the traffic, it doesn't really care where the boundary is. So you have to keep that as a community effort. A second challenge that concerns me is communication and information. The majority of residents, thank you for being here, the majority of residents really don't care a whole lot about what we're doing. And so they've got other lives to take care of. And we have a responsibility to try to get that word out. I write a blog, I go on social media, I do stuff, but I know it's not reaching everybody. So part of what I would love your support in, how do we get the word out better? How do we better communicate important concepts that are not overly detailed, but are also not talking down to people, and help people understand what their choices are in local government? So that's something I really want.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Next question. It's 2 minutes. Katelyn will be our first to answer it. And Question is, topic of conversation in the town is whether or not we need to build a new town hall. What are your thoughts and ideas?
That is the talk of the town, and it's something that's been the top of my mind for the last few months in particular, but the last several months in the last few years. We've heard a lot from our town employees, from our police department, our police chief, and the folks that represent us in the police department, that they need new facilities. We've heard from them. We understand their needs, and we have really appreciated their perspectives and their cooperation with us getting that information. But what we haven't yet done is really had the opportunity to hear from the public. So right now we're undertaking a process that will allow us to do that. Over the summer, I organized, I won't say committee, like a loose coalition of people who were particularly interested in this topic, and had a meeting with them and heard from them, actually, to Sarah's point, on improving communication with the residents so that they have the opportunity to know about these things much farther in advance and weigh in. So we released, what was it that I say there? 1 minute, thank you. We are in the process of releasing an RFP, or a request for proposal, to see how we might be able to better engage with residents and create a committee, a true committee that will inform that decision. Should we not end up proceeding with that request for proposal, that RFP, a community committee will be developed. And I hope to be reelected so that I can chair that committee, so I can continue to advocate for residents and hear their voices, because they have not been heard yet enough. And until we hear from them, we don't yet have the answer to that question.
Okay, very good. You guys are leaving time here on the table. Sarah probably would have liked it. William would have liked it. Anyway, if only
I
next
like to be
time.
concise.
Yes, next time we'll do that. We'll share minutes. Okay, next is Maria.
Thank you. Our new town hall is a significant proposal. And before we ask taxpayers to fund a $40 million project, we owe them clear facts, options, and a complete transparency. Yes, the current building is outdated, and we need to compare renovation options with new construction, actively seeking outside funding, and involving the community in every step of the decision-making process. Having managed large public programs at the county and overseeing budget decisions, I understand the importance of a cost-benefit analysis and long-term fiscal responsibility. A town board serves the community, not create long-term financial burden. If we proceed, it must be a project that the community supports and can afford. That's what I do all day at work. I have big projects. I find out what our citizens want, and I go with that and what we can afford, because I manage taxpayers' budget. I don't work for a Republican or Democrat. I work for the public, and I understand the importance of managing taxpayers' money, and that's how I govern my department. Is I see what the problem is, I see what we can afford, and I think of innovative ways that we can search to meet what the problem is in our community. I'm a community solver. When Ryan McMahon said to me, when COVID closed down the whole county, he said, I need you to start feeding people. That's what I do. I fed all the people in the community. When he came up to me and he said, Maria, I need you to set up a COVID site, and you need to test 1,000 people a day. He said, here's the on center, set it up. That's what I do. So with projects like this, I evaluate the program. I see how much money we have. I talk to the community, and I set up a plan.
Very good. William.
Sure. So outside, if you were to walk outside, you would see a 2010 Toyota Scion with 167,000 miles on it. That's my car, and I love it. Prior to that, I had a 2000 Saturn SL with 206,000 miles on it, and I still sold it to a guy who was happy with it for $400. Point being, I am one to live thrifty and exact every bit of value out of a resource before calling it quits. There are a lot of facts about the scenario that's before us that are well known and easily known, but these questions are for the folks to find out about us. That's why I'm not being flippant. You're finding out about us. I think want versus need is important to evaluate. I am on record on this subject as a counselor, and it's important to understand that general municipal services, such as tax receiver, code enforcement, etc., have very different needs than a municipal police facility. I've been clear and consistent about this. Where the municipal services location, which we own, has maintenance and upgrades to consider, that we should also do. I facilitated the renewed ADA assessment a few years ago with Councilor Bollinger, which helped identify the very specific needs of that building. Also, roof repairs, HVAC, and any other needs are justified to address now rather than waiting for total atrophy to make relocation somehow emergency necessary. However, expanding services within a new or expanded facility it's a welcome idea, but one that should come from the community through a comprehensive participatory needs assessment and not from a town department or from an elected official. There's been a lot of communication from our community about a pool. You know, folks want a pool. There's a lot to discuss about what we should do if we're going to construct a large new facility and what it should be for. The state of the police facility, however, which we don't own, is very different in that there are immediate needs, capacity needs that can and must be addressed. And as the chair of the Intermunicipal Police Committee, the operational needs of that department are a central concern of mine and will be the topmost consideration in all deliberations for me.
Excellent. Perfect.
Perfect timing.
Okay, nope, Sarah, you're next.
I'm not next. So I believe that the town needs a capital improvement plan for all departments. That the current facilities have problems that need to be addressed. We need to have a plan, as Maria said, to address those problems. I think that is where we need to go. I don't personally need it to be a new building. It could be a renovation. But the fact that our public buildings are not accessible is not okay. So I believe we have to do some investment in becoming more accessible for the buildings and also for upgrading the things that are broken and that kind of thing. So if you're going to invest a lot of things in your 20-year-old car, you have to make the decision then, is it really cheaper in the long run to buy a new car and have it be more energy efficient and have it have the things that I need versus spending money on my old car again and again and again. And that's where we are right now with the building. And so the next thing is that I really support and advocate for a community engagement process to help us make the decision. Is this the time? If I'm going to drop a whole new motor in this old car, is it better just to buy a new car? And that's really the decision that we're up to now. And we need your help to make that decision.
Excellent. Tim, last but not least.
It's interesting to me that now we need to talk to the community when that issue was raised. And I was getting phone calls from people going, well, why are we spending $40 million? And it was getting rushed to be put as a referendum on our ballot this year. I've heard from a lot of residents who are frustrated with how the issue was handled. But before spending $40 million, which most likely with bonding would turn into $60+ million on a new town hall, we need to take a serious look at all of our options. We need to make sure that we're fiscally responsible. I know that phrase is tossed around, but what we need to make sure of is what are our real needs versus our wants? Can we renovate or repurpose space that the town already owns? With inflation, rising costs, and families already stretched thin, now is not the time to take on any unnecessary debt. My approach is simple: transparency and accountability. Taxpayers deserve to know the total cost, how it affects them, what alternatives exist, and have a voice at the table. As someone who's managed budgets and complex operations, I believe good government starts with good stewardship. Every dollar that this town spends comes from a family in this room or throughout this community. And I'll make sure those dollars are spent wisely, openly, and with the community's best interests in mind. But another important piece of that puzzle is talking to the staff that works in those buildings, that are there day in and day out. Like our town clerk standing in the back, I don't need to point her out here, but she has a deputy who has to move her desk when she knows it's going to rain because the roof is failing. That needs to be addressed. We do have the issue where her staff has to go downstairs if somebody that has difficulty with ambulating and they can't go upstairs, they'll have to go downstairs to help. Those are things that we do have to address. But it's not just about a building. It's about trust, priorities, and listening to the people who pay the bills.
Okay, great. Thank you all. Next question, you'll have 2 minutes for this. As a town councilor, you work for the residents of this community. And as in any job interview, the residents would like to know what your skill set that you think you have makes you the best counselor for the job. Maria.
Thank you. Well, as Deputy Commissioner, I handle complex budgets every day. I coordinate across departments in the county and deliver results under pressure, as I said before. I'm also the department's Title VI officer and ensuring transparency, fairness, and compliance with civil rights standards. My entire career has been dedicated to improving how government works. That's what I do for people not just for not for politics. I have experience. I've studied leadership, focus on public good. I do believe the town of Manlius deserves thoughtful, practical leadership that earns and maintains community trust. I do want to be town councilor. I do because I think it's my responsibility to be that role model to every minority, every immigrant, every woman, to see that you're capable of being a leader in their community. And that's what I want to do. I want to show that as a minority, as an immigrant from the Philippines, you can be a leader in your community, in your government, at work, and that's what I want to do. I love this community. I brought up my children here for 40 years. They went to FM schools. I believe in practical, accountable, and transparent public service. My experience in managing budgets, developing programs, and promoting equity through Title VI equips me to be an effective town councilor. I'm ready to work hard for every taxpayer because that's what I do at work. I work for Democrats and for Republicans, and for every family in this town of Manlius.
Okay, great. William.
All right. So I'm what is classically known as a servant leader. So I have spent most of my life putting my energy and talents toward meeting the needs of our most vulnerable people, whether securing our frail elderly's safety, whether ensuring dignified inclusion for our intellectually disabled, or helping reintegrate our brothers and sisters dealing with mental health challenges. This has been my career and my life for decades. The secret to all this is empathy. It's the key to it all, not performative showings of the quote-unquote right language or other culturally dictated actions, but rather a true and honest, authentic caring about our fellow human being. That's what drives me every day to keep working. I've been humbled by life as a low-income worker, as a single parent, so my work today addressing poverty amid such plenty, the scandal of that, it's a mission that resonates with my own lived experience. I've worked in kitchens, I've worked in factories, I've assembled parts, I've driven trucks, I've been a personal care assistant, I've been an overnight worker in a group home, I've been a postal worker. Today, families are feeling the economic pressure and impacts of actions taken by the federal government. And for me, the priority issue is and always will be, how are the most vulnerable, the least powerful, and the least connected among us going to be impacted by the actions we take? That's what I've been doing, that's what I will continue to do, and that's what you'll get if you continue to support me.
Excellent. Thank you. And Sarah.
So I think it's important to have a learning mindset. So I have tried to always be continuing to learn about local government, about what the community needs, about what is legal and what we're supposed to be doing and all of those things. So I have really worked on attending conferences, talking to people, talking to experts, talking to regular people about what they need and what they want. And I think I'm a good listener, and I can take my experience to apply toward new information as I learn it. I have also brought in my personal ability to do some grant writing, to bring resources into the town, to perform things that town residents said they wanted in terms of studies around flooding or around land use planning, around zoning. I have helped to bring in new money to the town so that it does not come out of property tax. As counselors, we each serve as liaisons to a town department and to various projects, and I frequently meet consistently meet with the staff assigned to me. I follow their needs. I look out for their progress. And that's another piece of this job that not everybody might be aware of, but that William works with the police department, I work with the highway department. We try to make sure that we have the resources, the skills, the assistance that those departments need to do their job well. I show up, I read the background materials, I participate in planning. I think it's important to know that this job is, while technically part-time, it actually consumes quite a lot of time and a big part of how you are in the world. And I think it's very important to understand that I am committed to that. I serve you, the residents of the town, and I will continue to do my best to do that.
Great. Tim.
So I believe what sets me apart is my combination of experience, leadership, and deep roots in this community. I've spent my career managing large-scale programs and budgets, building partnerships, and finding practical results-driven solutions to complex problems. I know how to identify issues, bring people together, and get things done. Many of you know I've knocked on every door in this town for the most part over the last 2 years. and I've really had a chance to listen and learn from people. And I think that's, being a vital part of the community, understanding what's going on and listening firsthand to people. That's how local decisions are made. I'm not going to stop knocking on doors. If there's a problem, if there's something coming before the town board in your neighborhood, I'll be out there knocking on the door, because I'm not just going to go off what's on a piece of paper telling me that information. I want to know how the residents feel about it. I want to hear it firsthand from them. I've worked to ensure, as a member of the zoning board, I was the chairman for a year. I've been on there, like I said, for about 6 years now. But I work to ensure fairness, transparency, and common sense in every decision that came before us there, and consider the decisions and how they affected the neighbors, not just that resident and the benefit that it gave them. But beyond my professional experience, this community is who I am. My family has lived in this town for 6 generations, like I said earlier. My great-great-grandparents owned the Manoa Hotel and served dinner, sauerbraten dinner every Saturday night to the people that were on the trains. My dad grew up next to Green Lakes. It's where I grew up. I graduated from ESM. It's where my wife and I chose to raise our children who go to FM. And it's where I want my future generations to thrive. I'm a husband, father, first responder, and entrepreneur who loves this community. I'm running because I believe we can do better with accountability, fiscal responsibility, and a renewed focus on serving the residents of Manlius.
Very good. Katelyn, last but not least.
Thank you. So I'm not allowed to use any of my extra minutes for this question.
I mean, I didn't see anything in here you couldn't, so go for it.
So first and foremost, I have 2 daughters. I'm a single parent. I've been a single mom actually the month of October this year is my 10-year anniversary of being a single mom. So I've been raising my 2 beautiful daughters on my own for the last decade. And if you've had the pleasure, they're lovely children. So I've learned a lot from parenting my daughters, and from that, the independence that it required, but also from the support that I got from my parents, from my friends, my family, my community. And that's shaped who I am as a professional across the board. I have had a reputation for reaching across the aisle. I am a Democrat, and I have worked with Republicans at every turn, even when some people didn't like that I was doing that. I cherished those relationships, and I worked hard on those relationships, and I will continue to do that. Depending on how this election goes, we could very well have some Republicans serving with us on the town board, and I would look forward to working with them and collaborating with them, truly. I think that would be a really great opportunity to continue to do that work. As a financial advisor, a financial planner, I've been in that business for 15 years, coming up in November. I have never told anyone they can't retire. I have never said, oh, you can't retire, you got to work forever. It's about creative problem solving. It's about solutions. Maybe you work a little bit longer, maybe you spend a little bit less. But whenever we've encountered a problem at Town Hall, I've always brought that creative solution mindset. There is no unsolvable problem. Perhaps the solution isn't right in front of you right now, but if you reach it across the aisle, if you look to your left or right with your partners on the town board, if you look to your neighbors, the county, the state, we can work together to solve these problems. And I truly believe that coming together right now is the most important thing. And I look forward to continuing to do that.
Excellent. Very good. Okay, now the on the spot, you can take an exhale question now. Or I don't know, maybe you're more nervous to answer the on the spot question. No, it's fun, actually. Okay, so the first person that will answer will be you, William. And the question is, there are restaurants, bars, and coffee shops in the town of Manlius. Name 2 that you like to go to. And I'm taking notes because I'm from the city of Syracuse, so I want to know where the best of the best is.
So I go to Skytop for coffee almost every single day, and I haven't had any coffee in my own household that hasn't come from Skytop. And since they opened, and you will know this is kind of a retro answer because I still call it Ironwood. But All Who Wander is the pizza and beer joint right in the village of Manlius. I love it. I can walk there. I can ride my bike there, which I do, and I could rattle off about 5 more. But 2 was the question.
Excellent. 2 was the question. Good job, Sarah.
Oh, okay. So I have to say that we have, since they came in, we have sort of adopted Tully's, which is not where I would have initially thought, but it is a locally owned restaurant, and we have become fond of Tully's. And then the other one that I would say is Avicoli's, which is the Italian restaurant in Fayetteville.
Excellent. Tim.
So, being a Manoa boy, my answers, and I believe that both of the business owners that own these two businesses are excellent resources in our community and will do a lot for students and things like that. But it would be Spill the Tea. I think it's one of the greatest coffee shops I've ever been to. I do love their coffee. And then I would say T2. Trappers has the best pizza and stinger wings. If you've never had stinger wings, get there, try them. They're amazing.
Excellent. Katelyn.
So, funny story about Spill the Tea. I went there for coffee after they opened, like a few weeks. I used to serve on the board of the Chamber of Commerce. So I went to introduce myself, and the barista said, "Oh, my mom really wants to meet you." And long story short, turns out she's my distant cousin, Christina Hodges, that owns Spill the Tea. Her maiden name is Kriesel. I had no idea. So I've got a relative out there in Manoa as well. I would say that I'm not going to say Skytop because you already said Skytop, but I do love the Craftsman. They have fantastic cocktails, and I will be going there after this for a cocktail if anyone would like to join me.
There you go.
And then I want to give a shout out to Seneca Street Brew Pub. They do a lot to support our community, and they've been around for a long time now in the village of Manlius. And I would encourage anyone, if you haven't had the opportunity to go there, to check it out. It's a great spot.
Awesome. Last but not least, and you feed so many people, so where do you feed yourself?
Well, you know, by training, I'm a registered dietitian.
Oh, jeez. All right, here we go. Farmer's
So-
market.
So I love to cook, you know, and I was brought up as my mother was from Spain and my dad was from the Philippines. And I married an Irishman, and I love to cook. So probably the best restaurant to eat at is my house, right?
Oh, boy.
And I love to go to Wegmans and go shopping, go to regional market. But I love Twin Trees Pizza. I love Arid Evans Inn. I love the Japanese restaurant. It just depends on what I'm in the mood for. You know, in Manlius, I still miss Ling Ling's. I don't know if anybody still remembers that. I've been there for a long time. I like to go to Brugger's Bagels. You know, just simple things, but you know, I do love to cook. Yeah.
All delicious. You've made us all very hungry now. And you've been so generous that at 7:20, you let us out of here a little bit early, which is so kind to all the candidates. So the forum is over, and I hope you all got to know your candidates a little bit better. Thank you all for coming, of course. And remember the piece of paper on your seats for questions. There's a basket in the back that you can put them in. There's a table with literature, I've been told, of the candidates that's back there. And maybe most importantly,